I'm here today with Peter A. Maniscalco. He's a CPA, a certified public accountant, and a financial advisor. I know Pete for many, many years, and he and his wife have their CPA practice, and his family's involved with it too. And I wanted Pete to tell us about him and how he got to this point in his life in this business. So, Pete, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us, how did you get interested in accounting and what
Okay.
started it all?
So, when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be some sort of a professional. And I had a calculus teacher who felt I had a gift for mathematics and felt that I should pursue the field of accounting. And so I looked into it, graduated from high school, went to an accounting school, Baruch College, part of City University of New York, and that was the beginning of the practice. Basically, when I went to college, I interned from sophomore year through the end of school at a small CPA firm in Manhattan that handled theatrical people, and they offered me my first job in accounting, and that's how the whole career started.
That's interesting. So you met any famous show people there?
Yes, we did meet some interesting show people. Some of them are very well known. Don't think it's appropriate to speak about them
Right.
and their private life, but yes, I did a number of tax returns for some very famous individuals and also for local businesses. And I feel the experience that I had in this small firm did help enhance what I wanted to do, and namely do small business and high worth individual tax returns.
And I see that you you started back in the 70s or 80s
Yes,
doing this?
yes, I graduated from Baruch College in 1976, and from the period of 1976 through 1979, I was in public accounting. I then decided I wanted to try the private industry world in the field of corporate taxes, and I was with two major corporations for approximately 6 years. While I was with the second of the two, I read an ad about a gentleman that had a tax preparation business on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and I would moonlight for him. And eventually, he made me, quote unquote, the offer you couldn't refuse. He offered me the ability to buy his business, and that became the base of what Maniscalco and Picone is currently today.
Excellent, excellent. So a lot of work went into that, a lot of research, a lot of, so you had experience working at other firms, like you had your basic knowledge from college, and grad school, and also then got more experience on the corporate side of things.
Correct. And all of this experience tied in, and although when I bought the accounting it was really a tax practice and had no business clients at the time. What I had learned in the accounting firm while preparing individual returns, and by the way, we used to prepare them by hand before the computer days, it definitely enhanced my experience there. And during my early years of working in the accounting firm, I explored the possibility of getting some business clients here and there. And I actually purchased one in 1986, a business client. And again, not appropriate to speak about clients' names on tape, but that one client is probably responsible for more than half of the current business that we have with the referrals that came from him and his employees.
So, if I had to sum up how you grew your business from a small personal tax preparation business to the accounting firm that you have today, and how many years are you in business now?
30.
Wow, 30 years. So it was all really by,
Word of mouth and contacts. Um, I'm a people person. I get out there, meet with the clients, and in any business, it's very important to meet with your clients, patients, customers. There's nothing that replaces that one-on-one interaction, basically out of sight, out of mind. And over the years, again, sure, I had that one purchase, but then meeting with the various people and, accountants wanting to retire, people looking for new business, people to take care of them, namely accountants, attorneys. That's how the flow of work comes into this office. I get a lot of referrals from, many attorney friends that I deal with. We, share clients together in that they're taking care of the legal end, where I take care of the accounting end, and it makes the client very comfortable knowing that they are assembling a team to watch their back.
Excellent. That's very true. And just, reviewing you as a person, I mean, I know you personally, and I know you like 70s music. And, I see in your office here, you have many plaques and awards, and you give a lot of your time to philanthropic endeavors. And tell me about that. Why do you do that for all these years?
Well, I find it interesting, and it's in a way like a hobby, but probably more important is people really need to give back to their community. The community is an important part of everyone's life, and I often joke that Staten Island is like Mayberry. It's a very small, close-knit community. People really care about one another here, and they'll go the extra mile to help one another. And I'm not the type of guy to join an organization and just sit in the background. It gets me very bored. I have to be involved just because I have to be involved. Not that I'm on an ego trip, but to just sit and be idle, I feel it's a waste of my time. I would rather, if I'm going to be involved with an organization, be involved. So over the years, I've been involved with a local Little League, with the Knights of Columbus, with the country club I belong to, and probably my greatest achievement of philanthropy was my experience that I had with Egan Nursing Home here on Staten Island. I was a member of the board for 12 years, chairman for 3, and very active in trying to move it along into the current condition that it's in, adding facilities for hospice care to help those families in our community that really need help at a bad time of their life. Very instrumental with working with our current expansion of both the nursing home and the assisted living. Again, I get a lot of pleasure out of it just from a personal note, feeling I'm doing something for somebody, and that's it. I mean, just you need to do for people. You need to give back. That charity isn't just about money; it's about time and giving of yourself.
That's so true. And I've seen how Edgar has grown through the years and developed into the establishment that it is. And did anyone, in your early days, did you have a mentor or anyone in your family who was a business owner that inspired you to go out on your own?
Believe it or not, no one in my family was ever in business. If anything, they were afraid for me to go into business because they were hardworking, blue-collar individuals who felt they weren't capable of being an entrepreneur or a boss, and they needed, to go and get that weekly paycheck. That's all that was important. And I clearly remember my godfather once telling me, "What are you doing this for? What happens if it fails?" And meanwhile, he was a service manager at a large Buick dealership in Queens, and he himself, believe it or not, didn't believe that he was an entrepreneur in his own right. The only thing he didn't do was own the place, but he basically ran it. So I guess you could say a little bit of him, but more important, the folks at my first job in accounting, trying to mimic them and the way they ran their practice. I would say those were probably the people that most of all gave me the influence of what I needed to do what I do.
And you knew that, in the career path of accountants, and not necessarily CPAs, but of accountants, is there a progression in the in the profession where you can stay at a company for a very long time, or is it really just natural to go out on your own and expand from there? I'm just talking about you really, like, what's the comparison as a career path?
The career path is really what you make it. Accounting really is very much like medicine, okay? In that it's become a very specialized industry. People could stay in the public accounting sector their whole lives, and the public accounting sector basically services individuals and businesses in many ways, whether it's tax preparation, financial statement reporting, consulting, where other folks decide to go into the private sector, which basically is where you work for a large corporation in its accounting department, whether you be in the controllership department in the area dealing with the preparation of the financials, which the accountants will come in and audit, or whether you're in their tax division. That's basically a path that many folks follow, who don't like the change of scenery, so to speak.
Right.
Myself, I enjoy the idea of a change of pace. In other words, dealing with one client, then another, rather than being in front of the same quote unquote client, private industry on a daily basis. And in addition, there's the whole nonprofit world that folks get involved in it as well. There's a big need for accounting and controllership in these nonprofits. AGA being an example, there's a CFO there who's a CPA who decided to go in that direction. And lastly, there are CPAs in the government area as well, whether it be working for the IRS, the Treasury Department, local governments. So the field is vast, and basically a person has to discover for themselves their niche as to what they feel comfortable with and what they want to do with themselves going forward.
So you started this business, well, first of all, you have a family, you have a wife, you have 3 children who are grown and a whole slew of grandkids, and this is a family business, right? You have your
Yes.
wife.
So what happened is, when I bought the practice, it basically was myself and about 12 individuals that were part-timers that worked for 10 weeks. Because in the day, again, we joke, but there wasn't a computer at the beginning to do tax returns. And to my credit, I feel that was great because I actually understand what a tax return is. It's more than, going in front of a computer screen and kicking some numbers into a program and hoping that it comes out right. I mean, I understand, and many of my colleagues that are in my age bracket understand how a tax return should work and what it's all about.
Right.
From there, with the acquisition of the various business clients and also the expansion, we had to hire people along the way. And although my children were very young when I started, presently they're in their 30s. 2 of them work for me, my son and my daughter. And my youngest son actually works for a major CPA firm, probably the biggest one in the world, and he's a general manager there at the current time. And it seems to be in the family's blood. My wife is the administrator of the firm, and she's very involved in client satisfaction and interacting with them, dealing with putting my schedule together and making sure I'm where I need to be when I need to be. And yes, it is a family business, but we do employ, besides the family, 11 other individuals who work in the office and have responsibilities with the clients. There are approximately 8 accountants, 3 administrative people, and without them, the practice wouldn't exist because it's just too much work for the family to do on its own.
And it's year-round work.
Year-round, we're
that
here.
That you do.
We're here constantly. Year-round. It's not that it stops like a tax preparation service may on April 15th. Basically, April 15th is where we start, basically. Although we do a lot of work during tax season, the nature of our clients now has grown to such a magnitude that we are dealing with so many high net worth people. Their information isn't available for April 15th, and our tax practice goes right through to October 15th on a yearly basis.
Okay. So not only did you start the business for you and your family, but it started that way, but now you've expanded to hire 11 people, which helps the economy, which helps people who need a job, who want to work in the area, who, just growing. I mean, entrepreneurs really take this on.
Right. The benefits to my staff of working for this firm is the idea that they're working locally, and it's a pleasant experience in that they don't have the daily commute into Manhattan. Most of our clients are in a radius of 25 miles to the office, so they don't have to travel, to cities, across the country, and it's a comforting feeling for them. But yes, I mean, through my entrepreneurship, they have basically, a professional life that mimics that of a firm in Manhattan and of a larger firm.
Right. So Pete, you're an entrepreneur, you're in business for more than 30 years now, and can you tell us a little bit about your family background?
Sure. I'm a second generation Italian American. All my grandparents basically came from Europe. My father's dad unfortunately died when my father was a young man, and my grandmother basically raised 7 kids on her own, with the help of family, friends. My maternal grandfather, I never knew either, unfortunately. He died when I was a year old, but my maternal grandmother worked as a seamstress in local lingerie shops in the Brooklyn area where we grew up, downtown Brooklyn. My father and one of my uncles that I was very close with worked in wholesale meats their whole life. My mother was a seamstress as well. And basically, they were hardworking people that would be home every day at 4 o'clock. I wish that never happens with me, and I guess that's a good thing. But
you had to be home for dinner.
They had to be home for dinner.
At the same time,
at the same time,
table.
it was all about being Italian, and that was it. The importance of everyone sitting down and eating that meal, whether it was 4 or 5 o'clock, and Sunday, don't think you were going to Costco or any other store shopping. 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock was dinner time, and then a little nap in the afternoon. My family was very strong-willed with me in that they did not want to know about me being a laborer. My dream job as a child was to be an auto mechanic, and my uncle Phil said, "There's no way you're going to get grease under your fingers. Go and pick something else out to do." And that's how basically I became an accountant. Although when I have time, I still like to fool around with my car on my own, but he took that dream away but gave me a better dream.
All right. I see in your office you have little model cars, so I guess the passion is still there.
The passion is still there, and one day when I have some spare time, we'll get a classic from the 60s to work on, just to fulfill that mechanic part of my dream.
All right. So we'll use your garage, right?
There you go.
Yeah, and we'll park it there. So tell us some more about your profession, your certifications.
Okay. Well, I'm a CPA. I'm also a financial advisor. And I would say our profession is listed by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants as the trusted profession.
That's AICPA.
AICPA, correct. And that's the main thrust of our profession, is that we are the trusted professionals. People put a lot of trust in me and the idea of me taking care of their business needs, their personal needs. And
As
they
far
want
as financials.
financial, correct. And they want to know that is kept with the utmost of secrecy. In a lot of cases, I'm going to say many, handle 4 generations of families. I could be at a table where every single person at that table is clients, and no one knows each other's business. And that's a very important message I get to my staff as well. And to back that up totally is I have a dear friend on this island that once told me, he will not deal with anyone on our island or Staten Island because he feels he never wants his business to be blurted out by any clerical people or staff people. And I get that point across to my staff on a consistent basis. We have to keep whatever we have here in the utmost of confidence because people have that trust for us, and violate that and the whole trust is gone, and
The business is
the
gone.
business is gone.
Right.
Correct.
So what happens in the office stays in the office.
Correct.
At Maniscalco and Picone.
Correct.
And, I mean, that's very important. It's just like when you're in a hospital.
Right.
And you're in the
HIPAA.
elevator.
HIPAA.
And
Exactly.
HIPAA law, and there are signs up, do not discuss any cases in the elevator. Because you
Correct.
don't know who's listening.
That is absolutely correct.
Right.
Even when we have conferences with our fellow accountants, about issues that we may have, and you'll call a colleague, client names are never mentioned. Industries, yes, because sometimes you need that information, but the specific client, no, we're all, cool about that. Everyone understands, and it's for the greater good of the clientele that's done.
That's right. And for the profession
Correct.
as well. What is your passion? I mean, we know that you like numbers, and we know that you love what you do because you're doing it for such a long time. And we know you really want to tinker in mechanics. And we know that you love going to Florida, and you love art, cartoons and Disney. And tell us what else about your passion. And we know you love to help your community and work in that. So those are a lot of passions.
A lot of passions. Doing the best I can. I always strive for that 100%, but no one could be 100%. It's impossible. Unfortunately, we still have erasers in our firm. We still use backspace keys, etc. But the passion is client satisfaction and doing the absolute best job we can for the client. And when I'm involved with the philanthropy, doing the best we can. I mean, on the way here today to the office for this meeting that I'm having with you, I was thinking in my head about a way that we could possibly build another building to help some, people that may need some long-term care. And I'm on the phone in the car with various friends of mine going, what if we did A, B, C? And my mind basically constantly works in how to help other people. Because that's basically, no matter what the business is, somehow, some way you're helping someone. If you're a doctor,
Right.
if you're a storekeeper selling even coffee, you're helping make that person happy by giving them a hot cup of coffee that tastes delicious. It's all about how do you keep people happy. And in my spare time, yes, love Disney art, love to go to Disney, bring the family along, and just have a good time in this time that I have to have a good time.
It's if I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs feel the same way you do, but at the level of contribution that I've seen you give to the community is, I congratulate you on that level, because I know that what you do with your whole heart, your whole soul, and you're very true to that. You're very true to yourself in that extension, in wanting to help people and being consistent with it. And is there anything else you would like to tell us about yourself?
Well, I'm self-motivated. When I take on a responsibility, I take it to the fullest extent. And a lot of times, frustration could happen in that, there are times that I care more about things than the clients themselves, but I guess that's why I get paid, to do what I have to do. But my thing is, I'm self-motivated. I want to get, as I said earlier, the job done, and I will do what I need to do it. And when someone needs me, I'm there. I don't even think twice. My phone, most people have my home number. They know how to get me. And, at times I will actually give up doing things that I need to do for myself to help other people. And in the long run, God has blessed me with a lot of good things. Like we said earlier, we have 3 kids. There are 4 grandbabies. Everybody's healthy. What more could you want?
That's right. You're constantly learning, growing, seeking more information, and you work mostly with business owners, other entrepreneurs. Um, since you have a client base of a lot of other entrepreneurs, can you tell me, in your opinion, what kind of personality thread do you see that runs through these people? What's the one similarity that you would, or one or two similarities that you would
The
pick out?
successful entrepreneurs take very serious risks to get into business and have that serious motivation to make sure they do the job in the best possible way they can. And they devote a lot of time at the beginning to their business to see that it grows in the proper way. I deal with a lot of professionals, so just like me, they are all going for their continuing ed. They try to improve themselves on a yearly basis, and that's a common thread. They care about what they do, and they want to do the best job they can for their clientele.
So it has to do with personal satisfaction, personal growth, and,
Exactly.
and just doing their best, and you know,
And truly caring for who they're doing their services for. Unfortunately, I know, and fortunately, I know more about an individual probably than any other profession. I know when there are issues in families that are good and bad. I know when there are sicknesses. I get involved a lot of times with planning for elder care for their parents.
yeah.
And I deal with a lot of stresses that people have on a regular basis, and that's what a small business basically deals with as an entrepreneurial situation.
Right, and because you care, and you do it because you care, and that's part of your business. And Pete, we're really, I'm so proud and thrilled that you were on this program, and it really brings forth, you know, your passion and drive and why you stayed in this business. And I don't see you retiring anytime soon.
Doesn't look like that's happening, even though I would love to have more time. Yes.
More time for the family, but
There you go.
Pete's gonna, we'll finish this interview, and he's gonna go have some birthday cake with family, and I just wanna thank you for sharing your life with us as an entrepreneur, and for being part of our community. Thank you very much, Pete.
Thank you too.
Thank you.